The United States is on the cusp of a significant trade policy change that is poised to impact the technology sector profoundly. The current administration has announced the implementation of extensive tariffs on foreign goods, a move referred to as Liberation Day. These tariffs target imports from countries including Canada, Mexico, and Venezuela, and encompass critical sectors such as automobiles, computer chips, and pharmaceuticals. Economists project that these measures could lead to a 0.7% reduction in the U.S. GDP and a potential loss of approximately 500,000 jobs. I'm William Logian, this is Last Week in Science, and today we're talking tariffs. For the technology industry, these tariffs present both immediate and long-term challenges. The Nasdaq 100 has already experienced a 7% decline over 4 trading days, with major tech firms seeing nearly 10% drops. Investor concerns over the economic uncertainties and anticipation of further trade restrictions have fueled the sell-off. While the technology sector may not be directly affected by tariffs on physical goods in the same way that manufacturing or agriculture is, its high valuations and sensitivity to interest rates make it particularly vulnerable to economic shifts. This is not the first time tariffs have played a major role in shaping the technology sector. In previous years, tariffs on semiconductors and critical electronic components led to supply chain disruptions, forcing companies to rethink their manufacturing strategies. The ongoing push to secure domestic chip production, highlighted by initiatives like the CHIPS and Science Act, was largely driven by concerns of over-reliance on foreign production, particularly in Taiwan and China. However, the new wave of tariffs threatens to complicate these efforts. If companies are forced to pay higher costs for imported semiconductors and components, that could ultimately increase consumer prices for everything, from smartphones to cloud computing services. In a sector where rapid innovation and cost efficiency are key drivers of competitiveness, even marginal increases in supply chain costs can have outsized effects. In response to these trade policies, some companies are making strategic investments to mitigate potential negative impacts. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has pledged a substantial $100 billion investment in the United States. This move aims to alleviate concerns about foreign competition and demonstrates a commitment to bolstering domestic manufacturing capabilities. However, such large-scale investments come with significant risks, including regulatory hurdles, workforce shortages, and potentially profitability concerns. Additionally, major U.S. tech companies like Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft are exploring ways to shift production to alternative locations, such as India and Vietnam, to minimize reliance on tariff-affected regions. This global reshuffling of supply chains takes time and introduces new geopolitical and logistical challenges. Another major concern is the potential for retaliation from affected countries. If key trading partners respond with their own tariffs or trade restrictions, U.S. tech companies operating internationally may face additional barriers. This could be particularly problematic for firms that rely on global markets for revenue, such as cloud service providers, semiconductor manufacturers, and consumer electronics brands. While the administration is implementing tariffs in an effort to boost domestic industry, some of its proposed budget cuts may counteract those very goals. The House Appropriations Committee has proposed significant reductions in technology funding. One of the most notable targets is the Technology Modernization Fund, a revolving fund designed to support IT modernization projects across governmental agencies. Under the fiscal 2025 Financial Services Bill, the TMF is slated to receive no new funding. This decision could hinder efforts to upgrade federal IT infrastructure, including cybersecurity measures, cloud computing initiatives, and digital government services. Additionally, the Information Technology Oversight and Reform Account, which funds the Office of the Federal Chief Information Officer and the U.S. Digital Service, would receive only $8 million, far below the $44.5 million requested. This shortfall could weaken government efforts to improve digital services, making it harder to implement secure and efficient technology solutions. These funding cuts also raise concerns about the United States' ability to compete in the global AI and quantum computing race. Nations like China and the EU are significantly increasing their investments in next-gen technologies, while the U.S. risks falling behind due to inconsistent federal funding. While large corporations may have the resources to adapt, small and mid-sized tech companies could face severe consequences from these policy shifts. Startups often rely on cost-effective supply chains and global partnerships to bring their products to the market. Increased tariffs on imported components could significantly raise production costs, making it harder for emerging companies to compete. Venture capital firms are also becoming more cautious given the uncertainty surrounding economic policy and market stability. If investors perceive higher risks in the tech sector due to potential trade wars or economic downturns, funding for innovative startups could dry up. This could stifle new technological advancements and limit competition, ultimately consolidating power among the largest firms. From a consumer standpoint, tariffs could drive up prices for tech products, including smartphones, laptops, and gaming consoles. While large companies may absorb some of the additional costs, price increases are likely inevitable for high-demand products and rely on international supply chains. For the workforce, the implications are mixed. On one hand, the push for domestic semiconductor manufacturing and tech production could create new job opportunities. On the other hand, the loss of federal funding for IT modernization and digital services could lead to job cuts in the government and contractor positions. Furthermore, if economic growth slows down due to these trade policies, hiring freezes and layoffs may become more common across the tech sector. A contraction in venture funding could also limit opportunities for recent graduates and aspiring entrepreneurs. The coming months will be crucial in determining how these policies play out. If the administration faces significant backlash from businesses, consumers, or international trade partners, we may see revision or delays in the implementation of certain tariffs, like we already have seen. Additionally, Congress still has the opportunity to adjust funding allocations for critical technology initiatives. Companies will need to stay agile, reassessing their supply chains, investment strategies, and hiring plans in response to shifting economic conditions. Policymakers will also need to weigh the long-term benefits of reshoring tech manufacturing against the short-term disruptions these policies may cause. Ultimately, the technology sector is at a crossroads. While increased domestic investment could strengthen U.S. innovation in the long term, the immediate economic and market volatility cannot be ignored. Industry leaders, investors, and policymakers must carefully navigate this evolving landscape to ensure that technological progress continues without unnecessary setbacks. That's all for today. This has been Last Week in Science, and I'll see you on the next episode.